Talk to me about this 30 for 30 documentary on the New York Knicks. Talk to us about what it's going to entail.
Well, the film entails sort of the development, the discovery, the sort of ragtag group of guys that came together and that became the what we call now the old Knicks. It all started with Willis Reed getting drafted, and then it turned Dick Barnett and Cazzie Russell, and then this guy from the Midwest, Phil Jackson. And they drafted this other fella named Walt Frazier. And then they made a trade for this fella named Dave DeBusschere. And then a new coach came in named Red Holzman. And then the Knicks went from the bottom. They were a joke at the time. And the Garden wasn't Eden. The Garden was nothing even what it was anything like this past season, which was a mess. Madison Square Garden, before the Knicks started winning, was filled with men in suits smoking cigarettes, and it was gamblers, and it wasn't sold out. And they would be moved around to play, even out of the Garden. When Ringling Brothers Circus came into New York, the Knicks were removed. It wasn't what it is today. And when that team, with all those great characters and all those great players and all those great personalities came together, it changed basketball forever. Because when the 1970 Knicks won with Willis Reed coming out in Game 7 and that drama and the image of Walt Clyde Frazier, basketball became a popular sport. Before that, it was a mom-and-pop league. It was almost like arena football. It's hard to believe, but it was not popular. College basketball sold out. You couldn't give away tickets to the New York Knicks at the time. And it changed the Garden. It made the Garden a hot spot, and it made basketball an entertainment league, pretty much what it is now. And that team set it off, because before that, the Celtics were winning, and nobody cared about the Boston Celtics except for people in Boston. But with the Knicks winning and Madison Avenue watching it, Walt Frazier became Clyde, and the rest is history. So it's a lot of fun. There's just great moments, and I think, for just sports fans in general, I think people are going to get a kick out of it.
Most people don't want to accept the fact that when things are going well in New York for a particular sport, then it resonates profoundly and affects the sport itself in a very, very positive fashion. Mm-hmm. Do you find this to be an example that proves that adage, that if the Knicks are successful, it's that much better for everybody involved in the National Basketball Association?
I love that point, and I agree completely. Listen, no matter what LeBron James does and Kobe Bryant does and the Miami Heat and the Lakers and the Celtics, winning in New York in any sport, whether it's the Yankees, the Jets, the Rangers, the Islanders, the Giants, winning in New York, this is the greatest city in the world. There's other great cities. I love L.A. I love Chicago. Philly's a great city. But there ain't nothing like, I don't care if you're from Rome, Paris, Buenos Aires, there's nothing like New York City. It is the greatest city in the world. And the fact of the matter is that Madison Square Garden is the world's most famous arena. And as good as the Rangers are, the marquee team in New York is the New York Knicks, and the marquee team in Madison Square Garden are the New York Knicks. So winning here means everything, and it's the city game. New York City is the only city in the world and the only city in the United States where in any borough, in any one of the boroughs, you can walk 20 blocks in any direction, north, south, east, or west, and you're going to see basketball courts. It's part of the fabric of the city, and it's go ahead.
But help us out here, because the New York Knicks haven't won a title since 1973.
And it's disgusting.
It's been 41 years. So if winning would do all of that because New York is such a great city, what has losing in New York done?
It's brought pain. It's brought anguish. It's probably, brought a lot of business to psychotherapists. It's brought agony. It's been terrible. I mean, we don't even need to discuss it. Everybody knows what it's been. We're getting to the point, and I truly feel this way, that if we can't do it in this new Phil Jackson era, it's going to get to the point where we start to say, as we get a little older, I hope I don't die without seeing the New York Knicks win a championship. This ain't Boston. This ain't Chicago. We're not the Kansas City Royals. This is New York City. This is the New York Knicks. So it's gotta happen in these next 5 years, and hopefully we're in the right position to turn it around. I wanted to ask you, because
Sure.
I interviewed you for the film, and because of the editing, all that stuff. I had to take some of it out. But I wanted to ask you, because you articulated something so great when I asked you about Walt Clyde Frazier and the image of Walt Clyde Frazier and how that affected you and inspired you as a professional, and like what Walt Clyde Frazier and that image. Because we take it for granted, because now everybody comes into the league with a sneaker. Everybody has a nickname. Everybody has a Twitter account. But at the time, Walt Clyde Frazier and what he was doing and that iconic image, talk to me. Give me that answer again about what Walt, how he inspired you and what that image meant to you as a young man. And you even said as a young black man watching him thrive in New York.
Because he could ball, number one, but more importantly, he resonated in a fashion that just let the world know that an athlete didn't have to be somebody that was known for just their exploits on the playing court or field. That you could step out and really transform yourself or elevate or transcend yourself to another level by the manner in which you carried yourself, how you projected yourself, what you felt about yourself. Walt Clyde Frazier wasn't just important because he was a star point guard for the New York Knicks. Walt Clyde Frazier was important because when Walt Clyde Frazier looked in the mirror, he felt important to himself. And particularly at that moment in time, obviously it was in the immediate aftermath of the whole civil rights era.
Right.
You've got a lot of people that were having their own battling their own demons of self-assurance, self-deprecating ways to some degree at times, because they had given in and relented to people trying to minimize them and make them feel less than what they were. And Walt Clyde Frazier reminded you didn't have to be about that. You could have confidence in yourself. You could believe in yourself, and it could transcend you to a higher plane and platform. And that's what I took from him. And presentation meant everything. How you carried yourself. You saw that he made a concerted effort to look good, to present himself, and to be sort of a pioneer in a fashion sense. I loved all of that about him.
Yeah, that was the thing that I loved when I interviewed you. And when you're making a documentary, you got to kill the babies in the editing room. And the way you articulated, you're passionate about that team, but it was particularly about Frazier, that I loved, and that's why I wanted to have you reiterate it, because it was so eloquent and it was just so genuine. So that's why I wanted to ask you that again.